All right, Unit 3, Day 7, writing equations in slope-intercept form again. I can write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form given the slope and a point of a line, or just given 2 points and you'd have to find the slope. So let's look at this here. We are going to be putting it into y equals mx plus b. So if you're given 2 points, you're going to have to figure out the slope. Now, as a reminder, figuring out the slope is m equals the y sub 2 minus y sub 1 on top, and the x is subtracted on the bottom. Next thing, you're going to recognize and use 1 point of the 2 and the slope that you had found. Step 3, you are going to put it in a point slope form. As a reminder, it's y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And then finally, you're going to solve for y by putting it into slope-intercept form. So with that said, let us figure some of these out. A few examples here. So we're going to say maybe this is my x of my first, and my y of my first, and my x of my second, and y of my second. So finding the slope, I'll take the negative 4 minus the negative 1, and I'll take the 6 minus the negative 3. Having a minus minus makes it into a plus, so it'll be negative 4 plus 1 on top, and 6 plus 3 on the bottom, which will give me negative 3 over 9, so the slope equals negative 1/3. And then you choose one of these 2 points to use. I always say just use the first one. So I'm going to use the point negative 3, negative 1. Putting it into slope-intercept or point-slope form, the third step. The third step is y minus y sub 1 equals m, and then x minus x sub 1. It'll be y minus negative 1 equals 1/3, negative 1/3, x minus the x value, which is negative 3. Cleaning it up, y plus 1 equals negative 1/3, and then x plus 3. Distribute the negative 1/3 throughout. And subtracting 1 to both sides. So this particular answer is y will equal negative 1/3 x minus 2. Next one here, let's figure out the slope. So negative 8 minus a negative 4 on top, and then negative 2 minus a negative 3 on the bottom. So negative 8 plus 4 and negative 2 plus 3 gives me negative 4 on top over 1. So the slope is negative 4. Step 2, using the slope of negative 4 and one of the points, I say just choose the first one. Negative 3, negative 4. Step 3, put it in the slope-intercept or point-slope form. Y minus the y value, negative 4, equals negative 4 the slope, and then x minus negative 3. So it'll be y plus 4 equals negative 4, and then x plus 3. Distribute. And subtract 4 to both sides. All right, there you go. All right, slope, negative 2 minus 1, and 8 minus 5, which will be negative 3 on top, 3 on the bottom, which is negative 1. So the slope is negative 1, and I'm going to choose 5, 1. So y minus the y value of the point equals in slope, and then x minus the x value of the point. Distribute the -1 throughout the whole parentheses. Add 1 to both sides. Get y equals a minus or opposite x plus 6. Alright, next one has an x-intercept. So if I'm looking at an x-intercept, we're talking about a point that goes through the x-axis at 6. That is the point 6, 0. And then the y-intercept is at 4. So that's up here somewhere, and that's at 0, 4. So those are my 2 points. It's also my b value if I want to think of it that way. But I want to do it the normal way. Subtract your y values. So I'm going to go 0 minus 4 and 6 minus 0. So the slope is -2/3, and then you choose one of those 2 points. I'll just choose that first point, that's 6, 0. And so it'll be y minus the y sub 1 equals the slope, and then the x minus x sub 1. So this is already solved for y when I subtract 0 from it. And then I'm also going to distribute -2/3 throughout. Like so. Alright, math department sponsors a math family fun night every year. In the first year there were 35 participants. In the third year there's 57. Write an equation that can be used to predict the amount of participants y for any given year. So the years are the x values. So we're looking at x and y values like so, where it's going to be the year and then the number of for the y value. That's what it's looking like to me, at least. So in the first year, that's going to be year 1, there was 35 participants. And in the third year, that's year 3, there were 57 participants. So that looks like our setup. I'm going to do this. We're going to solve for y. Let's get into y equals mx plus b, it looks like. That'll be our easiest method. So we got to figure out the slope. So I'll take 57 minus 35 on top, and then 3 minus 1 on the bottom. Alright, so that's going to be 22 over 2, which is 11. So the slope equals 11, and I'm going to use 1 and 35. Putting it into point slope form, it'll be y minus the y value, 35, equals the slope of 11, and then x minus x sub 1, which is 1. Distribute the 11 throughout. I'll get y minus 35 equals 11x minus 11. Add 35 to both sides. I get y equals 11x plus 24. It looks like my equation. That should work. Based on the equation, figure out on the 5th year. So it'll be y equals 11 times the year, 5 of them, plus 24. So y will equal 79 participants. Alright, this one, last one here. Suppose a 5-minute overseas call costs $5.91 for 10 minutes, and or a 5-minute call costs $5.91, and a 10-minute call costs $10.86. The cost of the call and the length of the call are related. So what is the cost y of the call in x minutes? So the minutes will be the x value, and the cost will be your y values. So we'll relate those together, having it as 5 and 5.91 and 10 and 1086. So let's figure out the slope. Y value subtracted. And the x values subtracted. So it will be, M will be 495 on top and 5 on the bottom, which will be 99.99 cents. Pick one of the points. I'm going to choose the first one, as I like to do. So it'll be y minus the y sub 1 equals the slope of 0.99, and it'll be x minus the x sub 1, 5. Distribute the 99. Minus 495. Add the 591 to both sides. You get to 96 cents. Okay, there's your equation. And then we will be putting in how long can you talk if you have $12 to spend. Now keeping in mind the y value is your 12. So it'll be 12 equals 0.99x plus 0.96. Solve for x. And then divide by 0.99. And it looks like it'll be 11.15 minutes. There you go.